Welcome everybody. This is our second webinar in 2020 of Serpact. I would like to say thank you to our sponsors Serpact and to the team of Serpact for this webinar. I'm Nicola Mincu, CEO at Serpact. I have more than 7 years in SEO. My focus in SEO on technical SEO, Google AMP, local SEO, and structured data.
Hello, I'm Dilu Grigorov, head of SEO of Serpact with almost 17 years in SEO. And my main focus are the content strategy, semantic optimization, and machine learning, and technical SEO as well. Today, I would like to introduce you a very, very, very special and popular person in the SEO industry. And his name is Barry Schwartz.
Hi.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for accepting our invitation. Just a little bit about Barry. He's the CEO of RustyBrick, a New York web service firm specializing in customized online technology that helps companies decrease costs and increase sales. Barry is the founder of Search Engine Roundtable. We all know this person from Search Engine Roundtable, and he has covered search for over 16 years. Barry is also the news editor at Search Engine Land. He hosts the Search Marketing Expo in Israel and is a speaker, moderator, and coordinator at many search marketing conferences, including Search Marketing Expo, Search Engine Strategies, Red Innova Madrid, Spain, PubCon, and many other marketing and technology events. He is always at the forefront of the latest news and trends in search, and this is totally confirmed and proved all over the years. He was also the former news editor at Search Engine Watch and is a moderator at several search marketing forums. Barry has currently provided an advisory role for Google, Yahoo, Microsoft Bing, and several other internet companies and many startups. In the previous year, Barry was awarded as the Outstanding Community Services Award from Search Engine Land, and 2 years ago, he was awarded the US Search Awards, the US Search Personality of the Year. Hello again, Barry. It's an honor for us to be here with us.
Oh, my honor. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, so Barry, let's start just a little bit about you and your background, a little bit more. How did you start with SEO, and why SEO? Why do you love SEO?
So how did I start with SEO? So I pretty much just probably like many of your clients, like you went ahead and said, hey, a client came over to you and said, how do I rank well for this? Or how do I be found in Google? Or back then it was like Alta Vista or whatever search engine was popular back then. So I looked online, did some searching, discovered the SEO forums. So back then it was, I guess, Gymworld and SEO Chat and Webmaster World, some of the old forums. I think only like one of them is around still. And I started, communicating with them. And I'm like, wait a second, there's so much going on in these forums back even, 15, 20 years ago. How is anybody in the SEO industry going to go ahead and keep track of what's going on? So I'm like, maybe I'll just keep notes on a blog to say, hey, this is what's going on in the industry. This is what people are talking about. It gives me a way to document stuff and keep track of these changes. Then it also highlights some of the more important discussions going on for other people to look at. So that's why I kind of started Search Engine Roundtable.
Mm-hmm. And what do you love most about SEO? What's your, I don't know, your favorite part, let's say, SEO?
My favorite part. So I do like the industry a tremendous amount. I like watching what the industry is talking about. I love the conversations, the ideas that the industry come up with. And I like that it's constantly changing. I mean, Google, like says they make several changes a day, thousands of changes per year. Bing says they're constantly making changes. The industry itself has changed drastically over the past, 20 years or so, from, the big players being like Alta Vista or, Excite, Overture, to where Yahoo started to come up, and then Google, and then all this stuff. Now we have Bing, and pretty much Bing and Google, and DuckDuckGo's trying to make a go at it. And then all the changes you see with the algorithm changes and all the feature changes in search, as well as the paid side. So I like change, and I like that it's changing so fast.
Okay, some more questions about you. What was the first event you attended in SEO?
So the first big event that I attended was an SES, Search Engine Strategies, back in, I think, December 2003.
Wow.
It was in Chicago.
16 years ago. Whoa.
Yeah, that was the first probably event I actually went to. I remember being very cold. It was around Christmas time, so Chicago was really beautiful back then. But you really don't want to go to a conference in Chicago in the winter time. It's not the best place for a conference. But I went there for a few years until I guess SES kind of got rid of the Chicago event, and things have changed. But that was my first event.
Okay, and do you have any persons who really inspires you in the industry? We see that we very often communicate with John, with Kerry. So can you mention some people, some persons?
So some people. So John, like you mentioned him, he's somebody who is extremely dedicated to the industry. He's been in the SEO industry before he was at Google. He's extreme. I love consistency and somebody who's really consistent. And he's one of these people that has been consistently giving to the community over and over again, even in his off hours. So it's not just his job. He's doing stuff on the holidays. He's doing stuff at nights and weekends and so forth. So he's somebody that I look up to in terms of somebody who's really, really dedicated to the community. Of course, I've said this numerous times. Danny Sullivan is somebody who's I consider like a mentor to me. Now he's sold himself out to the evil side. I'm just joking, but I worked under Danny at Search Engine Land and back in Search Engine Watch when we both were there back in the old days. So yeah, it's something that those two people probably are people that I consider people that I look up to. Of course, people like Matt Cutts, super smart, super generous of his time. But there's so many people. It's hard to name a few people. There's so many people in the industry that are really, really good. I actually interviewed a lot of them on my vlog. So if you want to check out my vlog, you can definitely see some of those personalities.
Yeah. Very impressive work from you, Barry. And for us, it's an honor to have you today. So how would you define the SEO industry today?
Define it today?
Yeah.
I mean, it's much bigger. I feel like, especially at these conferences, a lot of the people going to the, I guess, bigger conferences like XMX and some other events, they're fairly new to the industry. They're just getting in. So there's a lot of newcomers constantly coming into the industry. It's a different place than it was, 15 years ago. 15 years ago, it was a different way of optimizing. You would look for ways to manipulate Google, find those ways to manipulate Google, and then implement it. And then your site might get buried 6 months later because you did something bad. Now it's really about understanding the holistic approach of a website, understanding the whole website, the customers, the audience, and then making really a great website. Google's been saying that forever, make a great website, but that's what it's really about. And I think the industry really has matured a lot over the years. A lot of the black hat SEOs are now working at Fortune 500 companies, doing white hat SEO. So it's a different industry. It's much more, I think, professional. I think it's much more, it's not like you have people in their basements, doing affiliate stuff. Not that affiliate stuff is bad, but hacking into websites or doing these underground secretive networks of stuff going on. It's a much more, I think, professional space than it was in the old days. Yeah,
very big changes past 15 years. Actually, I'm in the industry from 8 years, so I don't know what was in 10 years and more ago. So maybe you and people like Dido and another know more about that. Okay, Barry, top changes for past years in SEO. We know a lot of connected with machine learning, with voice search, with mobile first index, but can you share with us the most important changes for past years from your side?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask Google in the past year, the biggest change was probably BERT. It really gives Google a better ability to try to understand your query. Now, Google's only using it for about 10% of queries. You have RankBrain, which is used for more and growing. I think when they first launched, it was 20%. Now it might be up to 50%. Who knows? But that's basically Google understanding what people are searching for and better matching those queries to the content on the web. So that's what Google would probably consider the biggest changes in terms of the past year or so in search. I know Bing also is doing a lot of things around. They did BERT first. They implemented it like months before Google did, and it's 100% of the queries, they said. But Bing just announced something with what's called turning natural language, TLLG, I think it's for short. And it's basically BERT on steroids. It basically could do a lot more. So Google and Bing understanding intent versus understanding queries, intent over queries is something that you're seeing really change in 2020, some of 2019. And that's probably like somewhat of the future of search, I guess, is optimizing if you can for intent versus queries. But I mean, there's always changes going on in Google. It's fun to watch. Obviously, you've seen things with voice search. You've seen things with mobile was like a few years ago. Everybody has, voice search enabled everywhere they are. I have, a couple devices on my desk. You have your phone with you all the time. My car has Siri built into it. Some cars have, Android Auto or Amazon and stuff like that. Your thermostats have it. Your TVs have it. It's everywhere. So it's just nice seeing how search has really embedded itself everywhere that you are. Everywhere. It's really something that is amazing to see.
Why do you think all these changes already happened? What is the main reason? Maybe you can share some background secrets or whatever you know about the real reasons about all these changes.
The real reasons so mobile, I think it just makes sense. I mean, that mobile revolution, people, the iPhone came out. So that's Steve Jobs. And people are using mobile. So you want to make sure, search companies want to be where the users are, and the users are on mobile. Next is voice search. So now voice search is kind of growing and growing, and search engines want to be there. So you had Amazon really was the first player there with Alexa, and they were basically dominating that space. And then Google came out with their Google Home devices, the Google Assistant, and all this other stuff. And Google's way smarter when it comes to voice, of course. Siri, Apple bought them, acquired them. So it's really, I think, why it's happening, why you see these things happening is because Google, Bing, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, they all want to be have ownership of that query, of the voice search. They want to be where the growth is. And that's why they're kind of jumping towards those areas that are growing, that are changing. In terms of like BERT or TLLG and natural language, I mean, you have to keep getting better. The web and the number of web pages on the internet constantly are growing. And when they're growing, you need to be able to consume that content, understand what is the best content. So instead of having 10 pages about, I don't know, blue widgets, now you have tens of thousands of pages about blue widgets in the course of 20 years. And that's just going to grow exponentially. And how is Google or any search engine going to figure out what to rank better without being able to understand what that content is talking about, and then kind of trying to match that content to the query, because people don't put that many words into a query, into a search box. They type in whatever, and the search engine really wants to give the user, the searcher, the answer right away. And that's why you see these featured snippets and knowledge panels, and there's all these other things people also ask, because the search engines are really trying to really provide the best possible results for that user.
Okay. Barry, what do you think it's still the same in the industry? Let's say maybe since the beginning of the industry, and do you believe it will be the same in the future?
I mean, if you always look back in the history, back in the early 2000s, even late 1900s, the white hat SEOs back then, the ones that were saying content is king versus links being king, those content people have really proven that's the future. They obviously missed out on a lot of affiliate money back in the old days, but it really is about building, great sites. And there was SEOs in the old days that were basically saying, we're not going to take shortcuts. We're going to build the best possible experience for our users, build the best type of content that we think Google and search engines will want to rank, and we'll let Google and search engines figure it out. It took them obviously, 15 years or so since I guess Panda was released in 2011. And then Penguin in 2014, I think, or 2013, for those algorithms to say, hey, we know you're trying to spam us with bad, low quality content, and we know you're trying to spam us with links. we have algorithms that are going to detect it, and obviously now these core ranking algorithm updates and so forth. But really building out those white hats that were really building out those really great user experiences as well as content experiences really have, I guess, lasted over those years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember that in the beginning, it was already 15 years ago, Google started talking more and more about the technical foundation of the website and the importance of the from accessibility, indexation, crawling, and the processes, and so on. So after a shorter period of time, they started talking about the content that is the key, and it's really a key issue. Without the content of the good foundational website, you don't go anywhere.
Right. I mean, the basics are there. Yeah, you have to make sure to build a website where your content is visible to search engines, basic search engine friendly design. That was much harder back in the early 2000s because content management platforms were generating all these crazy pages. Some of them were generating a new URL every single time a user went to that page. So the page wouldn't be a static URL. It was like all these content management systems were not built with, I guess, how search engines would crawl them, nor how people would share the URL, because you can't share a URL that changes every 5 seconds. You know, URL parameters that change, dynamic you would have the actual IDs, like the cookie IDs in the URL, all these security issues. So now you really don't have those problems with at least, WordPress and normal content management systems. They all have it built into it. So the job of a technical SEO is less around, can we make sure the pages are being indexed, unless you have the topic of, JavaScript sites like, Ajax and React and all those types of things. That's where technical SEOs are kind of going through what the early technical SEOs went through back in the early 2000s. So it's just kind of fun to watch, I guess. It kind of reemerge itself with JavaScript-based platforms. But yeah, I mean, again, it's the fundamentals. Create great content, make sure Google could access that content, make sure people want to share that content, that people like the content, and of course, people will link to it. It's the same basics as always. It's just, how do you go about it?
In today, maybe, or yesterday, I don't remember, I find in AMP documentation, several mobile pages, now we can inject in React, Vue, and Angular AMP pages. This is very big step with JavaScript-based platforms or frameworks and AMP, for example. And the all work from Martin Split and the team in Google on the documentation about the JavaScript implementation. And they have a good, they create a good work. So today, Barry, maybe Google introduced one video about tips for hiring an SEO. Maybe you watch it. Do you believe SEO become more difficult nowadays?
Difficult. I guess it's more difficult to compete in the rankings these days than it used to be. It used to be in the early days, you wanted to rank for anything, throw up a web page in 5 minutes and just send a lot of links to it. Now SEO is really about building a really great site, and that takes a really, really long time. It's like making any new business. You create a new business overnight, you don't get customers. You have to go ahead and build your reputation over numerous years. You have to get nice contracts. You have to prove yourself, and that's really what it's about. So it is definitely harder, and the tasks got a lot harder as well, because you have to spend a lot of time building out great quality content and so forth. So yeah, I think it has gotten harder.
Yeah.
Okay. The next interesting topic actually in our webinar is we called it the SEO Roundtable, the clock and barometer of the SEO industry. So how did you start with the website, and what was the initial idea of that website? What was the first year actually you started publishing news? And one of the most interesting things to our audience is how do you make it to be so fresh with the information, always up to date, and always immediately after something happens, you see it on the website. Sometimes even before being published on the Twitter profiles, we have seen even such a thing on the website. So what is the model of that website? And if you can, whatever you can share, of course, because every business has some secrets, but it will be interesting to our audience. How do you do it?
Yeah, so I think I kind of like hinted to it at the beginning. Basically, the reason I built or started the Search Engine Roundtable was a way to keep notes on what the SEO community is talking about, and kind of highlight those to the rest of the larger SEO community or SEM community. That's how it started. We did some live blogging as well in the early days. Now you really don't need to do live blogging because there's live tweeting constantly going on. So that kind of went out of style quickly. But yeah, I try to publish, anywhere from 4 to 6 articles or stories a day, whatever you want to call them, on the Search Engine Roundtable. And the reason I do that is, again, really to highlight what the SEO and SEM community is talking about. How do I do it? I mean, I just follow a lot of stuff. I wake up very early. I go to sleep very late. I usually write around, so I do usually like the 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern time or local time is when I publish and write and research. And that's it. I usually spend about 2-3 hours a day doing the research and writing. The rest is usually devoted to my main company. I'm obsessed with covering stuff. I don't like to miss stuff. And I write fast. I really write pretty fast. I can throw out an article literally within 3 to 6 minutes. So it seems like it takes a lot of my time. It really doesn't. I guess I have a process for it. I know where to look. I know which forums to look at. And I do follow Googlers very closely as well on their social media. So yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
Do you have a time to rest or some
I
holiday?
take off on Saturdays. I'm Jewish, so we're offline for what's called Shabbos or Shabbat. We take off for that. So I'm offline for about 24 to 25 hours per week, Friday night when sun goes down till Saturday night till the stars come up. So, and there's also Jewish holidays. So I don't like being offline. Weekends are okay, but I don't enjoy being offline because I feel like I'm missing something. But yeah, no, the SEO stuff is really a hobby. It's like a passion for me. I love doing it. I don't really make much money from doing it. I just thankfully my business does pretty well building out software where I could do this kind of on the side.
Yeah. We've seen that it was in December. Maybe you made a very interesting video with John Mueller from Google. It was a kind of professional and mixed with personal things, personal stuff in the video. How did you come up with that idea? It really was very, very good and exciting for watching. We sometimes even from time to time with Nikki, we get back to this video just for inspiration. It's a really, really inspirational video.
Yeah, very interesting idea, Barry. Congratulations about that.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. No, I mean, I figure when I'm interviewing John Mueller, nobody really asks him SEO questions. I mean, everybody asks him SEO questions. I'm like, let's not ask you SEO questions. Let's ask you things that you really don't talk about. If you know, I mean, John really doesn't talk about his family. He doesn't talk about his, his career. He talks about SEO questions, like technical SEO questions all day. And I'm going to ask him, was there another PageRank update, or how do you, do X, Y, and what's with the no follow attribute? I'm not going to ask him those questions because he has answered those. Literally, he does webmaster videos twice a week, every 2 weeks. So I figured let's ask him some questions about, why he's at Google, how he got to Google, some pet peeves of his. I thought it'd be fun. So it was just, and I started the video in a fun way, I guess. I enjoyed the way I started the video where it would look like he was starting a webmaster hangout. But most of the videos are SEO focused or PPC focused. His was less. So
yeah, Barry, from one side you're a journalist, but from another side you're really expert in the SEO industry because you have a lot of information, experience, and you have a contact with all experts in the industry. How you can split these two different types of jobs?
Which types of jobs? So writing about it, and
yeah,
I don't do SEO, so you can't hire me to do SEO. So that's why I kind of I believe I'll probably upset a lot of people by saying this, but since I don't do SEO, I can write about SEO without any real bias.
Mm-hmm.
I say this as an example, but there's many examples that come out all the time. Google says some X SEOs were doing X. So when that SEO writes about Google saying don't do X, they'll say you can't do X, but if you do it this way, you can still do it. And one example was guest blogging. When Google said you can no longer do guest blogging, SEOs are writing about, well, Google says you can't do guest blogging, but you could do guest blogging if you do it this way. And the truth is, no, Google says no guest blogging. Of course, there's maybe ways around it. But I don't make my money from selling SEO, or, you know, it doesn't make a difference. If Google says this or an SEO says that, I could cover it as it's stated, say what SEO say what Google says, and let the SEO community figure it out. So I don't really have that bias when I write, which I think helps a little bit in terms of people trusting what I say. Although I don't really say much, it's really what other people are saying. If you ever read what I write, it's more about XYZ says this, or this person says this is what the community says, the end. I don't really give my opinion too often, because I really don't, I don't know. I like to state what people are saying. So it's fairly easy. So I don't really get involved in the SEO catfights that often.
Yeah.
Okay. If we forget for a second that you understand SEO pretty well, and let's say we have a look on SEO just as a journalist, how would you define it if you have never done SEO? We strongly believe we have done it before, and on your website or many other websites and so on. But if you have never done it, but you see it now and you write about it, and you're just a journalist, how will you define SEO from, let's say, from a bird's eye overview?
That's a tough question because I do know SEO. I've been writing about SEO for a long time. But in short, I mean, SEO, in terms of what I think it is about having, people, SEOs are people that basically help you get more visibility for your website in the search engines. Has that job description expanded in terms of not just visibility, but conversions and so forth? You can argue about that. But it's really about optimizing or tweaking your website to make sure that the search engines are giving it as much visibility as it should or have in the search engines. Hopefully that is a good answer.
And also we have seen that sometimes some rumors are starting from the website based on the discussions of the people on the discussed platform you have implemented on the website. Some of these discussions are going to the webmaster forums, are going to the Google forums, Twitter, and so on. But we see that you're very good sometimes to extinguish part of these rumors and topics that are not in the right direction, let's say, or something like that. And we're very interested in how do you do this, because we have always imagined that you are doing this with the whole team, maybe, or maybe a lot of people are tracking something here and there and so on. But it's really interesting because usually something happens, it starts a discussion, or even it's sometimes even just an argue, a very, very excited argue on Twitter, let's say. But after a period of time, it's away. How do you do it?
Oh, so how do I find these discussions?
Yeah, how do you handle with them?
No, I mean, I've been part of the SEO community for a while. I've been very involved in SEO forums for a long time. Now the discussion is less so on the forums like Webmaster World and so forth, and more on social media like Twitter. My policy is when I cover stuff, it has to be public. You can't be behind a paywall or a login. Like Facebook is often, you can't see the conversation. So I won't cover stuff unless you can see that conversation publicly being signed out of any website. You have to be able to see it. And I just have different techniques to find these things. Of course, I know who's talking about what. I know where John's posting. I know where certain SEOs are posting. I know where the discussions are happening. I have certain keyword trackers that I track. I have certain bookmarks that I look at, certain keyword searches. So I have a whole slew of things that I go through, usually once a day, sometimes twice a day, once in the morning, early, once at night, late. And then I just put them in sometimes these buckets where I could then, say, all right, what should I write about today? And I can't write about everything. There's so much. I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm shocked that every day I can write at least like 5 stories about search. It just amazes me every single day. I can write at least 5 stories about search. Is that much to write about when it comes to search engines? Every single day for the past, I guess, 16, almost 17 years now. That amazes me, to be honest.
Okay. Nikki?
Yep. Barry, I will start with a few questions from our audience. First one, what was the latest thing which really surprised you in the field? Doesn't matter if it's something Google released as an update or something else found as a hack for the better position.
Something that surprised me.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a hard one. Nothing surprises me these days. I mean, the latest thing maybe is that user interface. I don't know if you saw it, where Google's testing these massive images in the search results. It's like open wide spaces. And it's kind of like anti-Google to like, at least in the old days, like you wouldn't have, Google is so anti anything with images or anything with massive things that take a long time to download. It used to be like, you type in Google had a very minimalistic logo on their homepage and a search box. You type something into that, Google shows you 10 blue links. That's it. You click on it, you go to their website, that's it. Now, Google's a different beast now, but to see those massive images in Google search in the core organic results, it's kind of surprising, although probably not because Google's been testing a lot of things around that for a while. I mean, a lot of the algorithmic stuff kind of also is one of those things that really surprises me, where Google like will confirm some and won't confirm others. I don't know. I mean, at some level, I wish Google wouldn't confirm these things because like the old days, it used to be like we used to make up names for the old algorithm updates, the Florida update or whatever it might be. We used to say, oh, something's going on. Google never confirmed those updates, and it is what it is. Now Google's like, well, we're updating every day. Google's not pushing out an algorithm update that changes the rankings of search results in a drastic way every single day or multiple times a day. They'll do it. We see it happening, and Google will be like, oh, well, yeah, we'll now start announcing our core updates. But we want to announce the smaller tweaks to the core updates, which also adjust the rankings. And we want to announce, small, like maybe new spam penalty algorithm updates that are happening that remove quality issues in search. So it's always like, I don't know. It surprises me that Google still communicates around this because it's not a win-win. It's a lose-lose situation for them. The more that Google communicates, the more Google communicates, the less they win. Because when Google says, all right, we did a core update, SEOs say, well, tell us more about the core updates. And Google's like, well, we can't tell you more. You can't really do anything about it. They're just core updates and you can't do anything to fix it. And Google and SEOs are like, that stinks. Google says they dropped our rankings for everything and we can't do anything now. Google's a very bad company. They're being transparent. They're telling us there was an update, but they're also being totally devious and horrible to us because they're not telling us how to fix it. So Google cannot win when they communicate. And I'm surprised they continue to be as transparent as they are on some level because it's just a lose-lose situation for them. I shouldn't be probably saying this. Hopefully Google won't see this because I like when Google communicates, but I don't get why they do because I feel like they can't win.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, very comprehensively, actually. So we have another question too. How much does it take for you to prepare for a topic and write the article on it?
So I spend about 20 to 30 minutes researching in the morning to find topics, and then about anywhere from, 3 to 10 minutes to write the story.
Wow.
Wow.
It's not bad. It's quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question from our audience. Do you do any SEO to SEO Roundtable?
No. I mean, basic stuff. When I write an article, I'll think about how people will search for it. When I write, this is natural for me. I just write how I think people will find the article in search. There's title tags on there. I don't do any link building. I don't do any real, I share stuff on social media. But I don't know, what is SEO these days? Write content, get people to share it, right?
Yeah.
Or you don't? You just do the basic things on the website.
Yep. Okay. Before another questions from our audience, we have the final topic today. What is the future of SEO?
There is no future. SEO is dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the future of SEO. I mean, again, it's been adapting. If you watch it, it's less from, like I said, just trying to find ways to manipulate Google, and more about ways to really make sure Google. This is the advice I've given numerous times. I'm not sure if you heard it, but basically making sure to build a website that is so great that if a Google engineer looks at it and says, why is this not ranking for the relevant keywords, that they look into their algorithm to say, what can we do to adapt our algorithm to make sure a site like this that is so great that it is not ranking well will rank well. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think John Mueller just recently said, hey, I think last week's Webmaster Hangout, this website is doing everything right, and it's been doing everything right for such a long time, and it's still not seeing an increase in Google traffic. I'm going to go ahead and bring this website back to the Google engineers to say, what's going on? What can I tell this webmaster? Because this is embarrassing. This website should be ranking well, and it's not. And I think that is the goal for any person who's doing SEO, or any person who's making a website, is to build something that is so great that it would be embarrassing for Google not to rank it well.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
Easier said than done, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I will start with a few questions from our audience. So first one, do you plan to write more articles for another news, another websites around SEO? Because we see only articles in Search Engine Land and SEO Roundtable.
Is it not enough?
Yeah, I'm sorry for this question, but
it's a good question. No, I mean, a lot of people do guest blogging, and that's a SEO strategy. And I exclusively write at Search Engine Roundtable and Search Engine Land. I'm so much time in the day, and it's a hobby, and I like to keep. That's the debate. Do you publish on other people's websites like Inc., Forbes, whatever, or do you publish on your own websites? And I'm not looking for SEO business. I'm just looking to write what I think is interesting to write about, and I could do that at those two sites. And no, I probably will never write on other websites. Although I did do a video with Martin Split for his YouTube series on Google, and that should be out, I don't know, probably next few weeks or so. No, I don't know, next few months or so, hopefully. So in this video, I'm doing this with you guys. So I'm more than happy to do this with anybody who's interested, but I'm not going to write stories for other websites. It's just, I only, I write, when I average around 10 stories a day, I'm not going to write more for other people.
Okay. Dido, next question.
Yes, actually, people are bombarding us from whatever you can imagine with questions right here. Facebook, there's some from YouTube and so on, even over email. One of the questions I see here is, do you believe that machine learning will continue and will increase its impact on the SEO at all? And where do you think this will go in the future?
I think, if you look at the trend, machine learning has done that so far and continues to do that. Microsoft, at least on the Bing side, said they're all in on it, like 100%. They're all in on machine learning, and that's what controls the algorithm, and that's what controls the rankings completely. Bing is a little bit scaled back and saying, well, we're not all in on it. Different elements are used for, like, say, featured snippets or understanding queries with RankBrain or BERT. They use elements of machine learning in different areas so that if there is an issue, they can debug it. I'm not sure how deep Google will go with machine learning in the near future. Their previous head of search who left was Amit Segal, and then after he left, I can't pronounce his name, but he was really big into AI. He was really big into machine learning. He's now at Apple, the head of Apple Siri, but he was really into all things AI. And he was there for a couple of years. He left, and now Ben Gomes is now running things again. on some level. And he's old school, so he's less maybe machine learning, but everything is moving to this machine learning AI type of space. The question is, how deeply will Google go on that in all areas of search? But yeah, I mean, it's interesting how SEOs are now using what's called, BERT to look at their own content and use their own scripts to go ahead and figure out how to make their content better. It's not like you can optimize for BERT, but you can use BERT, the technology, and AI methods on your own website to say, how can I go ahead and write better content? Where is my content lacking? I think LinkedIn had a case study we published on Search Engine Land where they looked at, they wrote certain AI features or machine learning features to go through their content in a machine algorithmic way to find problem areas on their website and improve it. Not by publishing the content better through AI, but more about finding the problem areas on their website using machine learning and AI. So it goes both ways. And I think we'll only see more and more machine learning. The question is, will Google be 100% in 5 years from now? I don't know. Not in the near future, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Do you think paid articles, guest posting or something like that, but paid, works in SEO nowadays?
Does it work?
Very general question, actually.
Yes and no. I mean, if you do it at a crazy scale, you do it on certain sites that are known for it. Forbes, Inc. They are known to be, certain websites are known for like just publishing whatever with links in it. I'm sure Google doesn't count those links that are put in those articles. If you do it once in a while on sites that never really do it, I think you're fine. Like sites that really look at the quality of the content, that don't publish from anyone, that don't take money for it. If they're taking money for it, probably on Google's radar. Google probably has some type of database that says don't trust links from these sections of these websites that take money for guest blogging.
Maybe Forbes past few weeks have an issue about that, or
Forbes always has issues with that, so I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know, it's sure. Okay, Dido, next question.
Yes. Also, we have seen that two things on the website. Actually, we're getting back to the SEO Roundtable because it's really interesting to the whole world. It's very unique, actually. The first thing is that you started a blog. What are your plans for your blog, and how do you see it in the future? It's very interesting, actually, going through the different kind of experts around the world, talking to them, especially John Mueller. And this, what are the next persons? Maybe can you reveal some secrets? What are the next persons you plan to make some interesting interviews, so we can watch you in the future, or expect them?
Right. So I started the vlog because I like buying gadgets and new cool technology. So I found this new camera. It's like this DJI tiny little pocket camera. I'm like, all right, is it going to go in my, I don't know if you see over there, there's like a whole bunch of boxes. Turn it so you can see it a little bit. Yeah, whatever. Not turning really. Anyway, it's over there, and I bought drones and all this other stuff. I don't use it anything, so I went ahead and bought this camera. I'm like, I got to use it. So I'm like, I'm going to start a vlog. And I basically said, how can I help the SEO community? So I went ahead and said, I'm going to interview people in the SEO, SEM community and get their personalities out there so people can learn more about them. So I did that, and I continue to do that. I just published my 49th vlog, I guess. And it's basically about giving, I guess, a platform, if there is a platform on my site, to other personalities in the SEO industry, SEM industry, to get them more awareness, and also talk about SEO and SEM topics that they're passionate about. And I've been doing that. Getting Matt Cutt on that vlog was pretty cool. Not that we really shared much cool, like, secretive stuff over there, but it was really cool to do that. John Mueller, Danny Sullivan, those were all fun, Google interviews that I've done. What's coming in the future? I have a whole list of stuff. It's mostly SEO and SEM personalities. You're going to get more videos from XMX New York, which was back in November of last year. I went to Tech SEO Boost in Boston, and I interviewed a ton of SEOs there and people. I mean, there's a ton. So that's going to be upcoming in the next several weeks. And then I also went to Israel for actually a personal vacation with my wife, which I never really do. And I interviewed several SEOs and SEMs in that space. And then some more videos from DC and some other people. So If you do want to be on the vlog, just there's a form. Go to seroundtable.com and /vlog, VLOG. There's a form there. You can fill it out. I am planning on coming to London twice this year. I hope.
Wow.
The coronavirus hopefully won't stop any of that stuff. But XMX London is in June or May or something like that. Then I'm coming again to London for some SEO event with another company. So I think Zoic is sponsoring that. And then I'll be in, I guess, I'm going to pretty much all the XMX events in the US. So Seattle and New York again, and then California again. I think I might be in Dallas for State of Search. So if you're at these conferences, I'd love to interview you. If not, I do plan on traveling around at least my area. So New York City, tri-state area here in New York by car. And if I go to other conferences, I will definitely, reach out and say, hey, do you want to be interviewed? If you want to be interviewed, definitely fill out the form. Hopefully I'll come out and interview you guys. It's really about just getting people out there.
Yeah. Another question again from our audience. Actually, we have so many at the moment. What happened to the search industry honors you? You suddenly stopped it, and it was really interesting. On the website.
Yeah, so that was just a form. People filled out and nominated people to be honored. I went through the whole list and did it. There were some spammy results in there, so I didn't cover the spammy ones, obviously, and some sarcastic ones, which I didn't cover, but I covered 99% of everything in that form, and then when the form was done, I stopped it. That was really time-consuming. I did one every single day for, I think, several months, like 9 months. I forgot how many months. It was just a lot of work, and the only reason I stopped it was because there was no more people in the database.
Okay, one more question from our audience, from Giorgio. Hi, Giorgio. Is Google Maps local search websites are the next big thing? R2 sites haven't told are much simple being privileged to rank higher and easier than standard sites.
Is Google Maps local websites the next big thing? So Google Local is very big in the States. I think it's very big all around the world. Google Local the local pack has always been pretty significant. But recently Google, I think a few months ago or several months ago, Google added to their algorithm something called neural matching, which they use in web search. Now it's used in local search. So Google's definitely putting more effort there. And with mobile and voice search, there's more of a local emphasis on your searches. So I would definitely, if you have a business that is in anywhere local stuff, if you do a search for the business keywords and local results come up, 100% focus on that. Google My Business is a great way of doing that. How to optimize for that is a little bit trickier than SEO, pure SEO, but because there's proximity. But yeah, definitely look into that.
Yeah, in the past, Dido, I don't remember when, but we had a webinar with Dana Di Tommaso.
Yes.
You know about her for local SEO. And her recommendation about local SEO from Google site are not more, maybe from her experience, because in the documentation in Google about local SEO optimization is not so much information there. More, I don't know why, but maybe someday we will have more. Okay, Dido, next question.
So, do you plan to cover more topics on the website in the future? Because we see at the moment that you mainly write about the updates and the new features and so on, but do you plan to cover like many of our colleagues, like talking about algorithms or maybe machine learning category, or more into the trends when it comes to where the search will go into the future?
Yeah, so I cover, again, Search Engine Roundtable, I cover what the SEO community and SEM community is talking about. If they're talking about BERT, and that's machine learning, I'll cover that. If they're talking about neural matching, I'll cover it. If they're talking about something, I'll cover what the community is talking about. If they're not talking about it, I won't cover it there. And Search Engine Land, I cover more of the breaking stuff, the news-related stuff. I don't really cover stuff that I personally find interesting. I cover what I think the SEO community and SEM community is talking about. So if you see discussions around this stuff and you want to point me to that discussion that I'm missing, definitely point me to it. It has to be in English. I have to be able to read it, understand it. But definitely send me information that I'm missing, because I try to cover what the SEO community wants to talk about.
So you would like to put more focus on the fresh content, on the fresh news, let's say that way, instead of writing some theory or some observations. And
I'll write maybe like 5 times a year about like higher level stuff, observations, my own thoughts about stuff. I really, it's just, I don't know. I mean, Rand Fishkin always beats me up on that. He's like, you should write more about this or that. I'm like, I write about what the community is talking about. I'm not going to go ahead and write about something that might be something that the community should be thinking about in 5 years from now, if they're not talking about it now. I might write about that topic when I do my bigger post about, looking forward. I do a yearly post about what's changed or something like that. So I don't know. I like to write about what the community is talking about. So I don't know. Again, if you see conversations that I'm missing and they're talking about these types of futuristic stuff, I'm more than happy to cover it as long as the community is talking about it.
Okay. Yeah, maybe the final question. What do you think about voice search? Do you think the next year will be we'll see the big changes in SERP connected with voice search queries?
That's a good question. Is next year the year of voice search? So I know with mobile search, we were saying this is the year of mobile search, and we said that for like 10 years straight. And then finally it happened, and we're like talking about voice search then.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, voice search, you see when you're walking around town, you see your kids, they talk to their phones more than they type with their phones. So I think voice search is here. I just wish Google would give us more data around it with Search Console and give us more data. They rarely give us data around voice search. I wish we had more data to see those trends. And right now it's kind of like a mystery. It's like anecdotal evidence. Oh, I see my kids doing it. I see these people, talking to their phones. I see these people talking to their cars and so forth. There's just really very little data out there around voice search that's released specifically by Google and Bing. And I would love to see Google and Bing share more data around that. And remember, like back in the day, that Google released this like time of the day chart that showed you by time of the day what people were searching for. In the morning, more things around weather and news and traffic, and at night it was more about entertainment and stuff like that around voice search. I would love to see more data around that. Has it been growing? I know Google said also that 50% of searches are mobile. Over 50% of searches are mobile, and of those, I think it was like 20% were like voice search, and that was a stat from probably 5 years ago. Give us more data so we know where we're going, and then give us data in Search Console to filter those voice searches.
Yeah, but after 5 years, SEO will be dead, and we'll see.
Yeah, won't be a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In the final part, Dido, can you introduce our final part of the webinar?
Yeah. Before that, I have another fun question for you, Barry. Why there is no Barry Schwartz, the search community honors you page? We don't see it on the website.
So that's a good question. People actually submitted that as a nomination. I'm not going to write about myself. That just seems ridiculous. But there was a Facebook group created for that by Mary Davies. And there's a whole big Facebook group around that. So I think it's closed now. But back like a year or two ago, they made that after I did that column, which was really nice. And they actually printed a book of all the comments and mailed me a physical book of all those comments, which was really, really nice. My wife's like, people like you. I'm like, I guess. But I don't know. All I do is regurgitate what the SEO community is saying. So that's all I do.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a final, very funny part of our webinars, and it's about a question to put an alt tag of an image. You have to see it now, thanks to our moderators. It's a very interesting image, actually, very funny image. But we will be interested to hear your suggestion for an alt tag.
For an alt tag, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we're waiting for.
Yep, here is the link.
I see the link. Should I copy it? I should just go to it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so the cat with the G logo. Why is that? The alt tag, I don't think I put an alt tag, but basically Google that's frustration there. That's John Mueller and his cat being frustrated by the Google search results. And that's the frustration in the cat's face and the eyes. You can see the frustration, how frustrated that cat is with Google search results. And Google wants to do better. There you go. I don't know. The alt tag would be frustrated cat at Google search results.
Okay.
Why a cat? I mean, it's like, you know.
That was really good, actually.
It speaks like cats and stuff. So I'm glad you appreciate the images. I put some effort into those images, and some people like them. Some people just glance over them. I do try to put in some jokes into those images when possible, just to make people smile.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in the last minutes of our webinar. We would be really, really happy if you share your final words and thoughts with us and our audience, because believe us, you have so big audience here in Bulgaria of your website.
Thank you.
We follow you, and we are kind of we're striving for your updates to be first to see them, to read them, and to implement whatever we can learn from the website, of course, from Google and so on, all the different sources you get your information and how you easily write for us. So share your final thoughts and words for our audience.
Well, again, it's really not about me, or it's really, I just deeply appreciate the search community. I think the search community is amazing. The amount of information they share with each other, that they share publicly, how you see competitors in the SEO industry helping each other out and not competing with each other. I think it's just a really unique space, and I just love and encourage the SEO community to continue doing what they're doing, keep sharing, keep helping each other, and keep making the community better. So thank you all.
Yeah, and can you share us any general recommendations for us SEO, especially when you have this kind of website overview of the SEO community? Maybe write better content, maybe have a look on your technical foundations of the website, or 2 or 3 recommendations for our audience.
I mean, it really depends on the specific website. Some websites have technical issues and they have great content. Some websites have really good technical foundation and they have bad content. It depends on the website. So I can't give specific advice, but generally, like I said, at some point in this video, it's really about building the best website possible that Google would be embarrassed not to rank well. And I think that's the key advice there. And that can mean a lot of things. That can mean technical SEO, content. It could be stuff that's not easily shareable or not easily get links to. It could be not building something that people find interesting. It's a lot of things. I don't want to, it really depends on the specific sites. So.
Okay. Thank you, Barry. Thank you for this webinar with us. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. Thank you on our team for their great work and during this webinar. We will be expecting you next month, and very soon we will announce our next guest. Meanwhile, don't forget to follow us on the YouTube, where you can find a lot of useful knowledge and information in our Serpact series. Thank you again, Barry, for being with us and sharing your amazing knowledge and tips.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, actually, our audience was asking about you, and you're here. Thank you for accepting our invitation for this webinar. Hopefully, we will have you as a guest in the future again, after a period of time, of course. And thanks for sharing your amazing knowledge and tips, maybe, and tricks and so on, because you really know a lot. You really know the SEO industry. Maybe I could say that maybe you're one of the persons on the planet who really knows the industry on its best. So
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you really you really share and really give a lot of value to the industry. So keep up with the great work. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.